evening. Welcome. This is Hot Edition. We're live from Maniyusabata Desawe Kanda, also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale. We're live on Soul on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. This evening, NPP condemns party-affiliated TikTok users over helicopter crash comments. Also, police arrest NPP activist Obama Pokwasi over illegal arms display. And we'll give you some updates on what's happening with the NDC as well. They've been commenting on the NPP's decision not to contest the Tamale Central constituency by-elections, but also have affirmed their decision to contest the Akwetia by-election. Government engages international experts to probe August 6 military helicopter crash, which occurred exactly a week today. We'll give you updates on that, plus some reactions from security analysts on this here on Hot Edition, plus the latest in business and sports over the next 1 hour. I am Alfred, Let's settle for a summary of the news now.
In a summary tonight, the Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General William Agyapong, has explained the circumstances that necessitated the use of cocoa sacks to carry the remains of the 8 men who lost their lives in the August 6 helicopter crash. According to Lieutenant General Agyapong, all the personnel at the scene had body bags, which were the appropriate tools for such an exercise. The extent to which the bodies were burnt made it impossible to use them. He emphasized that the rescue team did their best with the materials available, which included cocoa sacks to carry the victims' remains. Lieutenant General Agyapong noted that as night was approaching and the remains could not be left at the scene, the team resorted to the available and appropriate material to transport the bodies from the thick forest. Also, the Ghana Police Service has said that it has commenced investigation into a viral TikTok video in which an individual is heard threatening the lives of President John Dramani Mahama and the First Lady Lordina Mahama. This is contained in a statement posted on Facebook on August 12. In the video on TikTok, a female voice could be heard saying in Treve, "Did you see how they put them in sacks? That's how we would treat Mahama. We will kill him and cut off his head of his wife." The narration was in respect of how the 8 victims of the helicopter crash at Adansi performed on August 6. Professor Raymond Atuguba, former Dean of the University of Ghana School of Law, has been appointed Acting Director of Legal Education at the General Legal Council, effective September 1, 2025. His appointment follows a directive from Acting Chief Justice Paul Bafoboni, recalling Justice B.Y.K. Opong of the Court of Appeal from the position to resume full duties on the bench. In a letter dated August 8, 2025, Justice Bafoboni thanked Justice Opong for his significant contribution. Finally, more than 490 youth organizers of the New Patriotic Party, NPP, including substantive and deputy youth leaders from constituencies across the country, have picked up nomination forms for Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia ahead of the party's presidential primary in January 2026. The group described Dr. Bawumia as the only candidate capable of securing victory for the NPP in the 2028 general elections. Their endorsement follows a strategic meeting on July 29, 2025, where representatives from various constituencies cited his exceptional leadership, proven track record, and vision for Ghana's future as reasons for their support. Alfred.
It's live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale. We're live on W93.5 in Y and beyond. You can also stream in live on Facebook at 3FM 927, also on YouTube at 3FM 927. Read out to you your concerns, questions, and your opinions, and also to the rest of the world. Let's start off straight from the matters of security this evening here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, and then the aftermath of this rather unfortunate incident that led to the death of some 8 gallant Ghanaians. The New Patriotic Party General Secretary Justin Frimpong has condemned disturbing social media commentary by individuals linked to the NPP following the recent Z9 military helicopter crash. Speaking during a visit to the National Democratic Congress NDC, Justin Frimpong criticized comments made by some TikTok users believed to be affiliated with the New Patriotic Party, describing them as unfortunate and condemnable and unrepresentative of the NPP's values.
And we are looking forward to having a very fruitful relationship with the NDC. by the name of Akwetia, our seat. My uncle knows that we are going to retain the seat at Akwetia, and he will help us by choosing the candidates who cannot compete. So it is important that in times like this, we also show solidarity. Indeed, there are certain comments that are made by what we refer to as food secrets, or people who are not even closer to the leadership of their party. But sometimes it is important when such fortunate or memorable statements are made, both by the leadership council to distance ourselves from it, and also to let them know that is not the truth of our party. After these incidents, we will admit here that certain comments, even from NDC and NPP, some are claiming NPP are behind all these things, and some are also saying that they were even expecting some other people to have died. These things are not healthy for our democracy, and death is something that even your worst enemy should even wish death for your enemy. So, Mr. Chairman, if anything came from our side, I want to, on behalf of our party, apologize to the NDC and through you, His Excellency President Mahamudu. It is not the position of the Patriotic Party. I will never condone such activity for
We'll come back to this and more, and what happened at the NPP during the NPP's visit to the NDC at the NDC's headquarters. Stay with us here on Hot Edition. But this evening, we're learning a bit more about the Ghana Armed Forces efforts on the day the military helicopter crashed in the Ashanti region, claiming 8 gallant men, including 2 cabinet ministers. The Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General William Agyapong, has been speaking on initial efforts to locate the helicopter and the challenges rescue and retrieval teams were confronted with. The last 7 days has seen spirited public discussion on how the accident scene was managed and retrieval efforts by the armed forces. The CDS has been providing answers. First, on the loss of contact to the aircraft, he spoke during a courtesy call on him by the leadership of the Ghana Journalists Association.
Something might have happened to the aircraft. It took us additional 30 minutes for us to apply the known protocols to see where the aircraft was. Because once an aircraft loses communication, it doesn't mean that it has crashed. It could be flying very low, out of radar. It could be weather condition, or it could be mechanical. So after 30 minutes, once we realized that we were still not making progress, then we initiated what we call the rescue efforts, because we still didn't know whether there were casualties.
He explains by the time his men arrived at the scene, locals had already interfered with the site.
So the closest military post at that time was the team that had gone to secure the helipad to receive the team, to receive the helicopter. And they were as far as Obuasi. It took them some time to get to the scene. By that time, the locals who were at the scene had already started interfering with the crime scene. So the closest military post at that time was the team that had gone to secure the helipad to receive the team, to receive the helicopter. And they were as far as Obuasi. It took them some time to get to the scene. By that time, the locals who were at the scene had already started interfering with the crime scene.
That's as Chief of Defense Staff there. Another issue of contention has to do with how remains were conveyed, and this is what the Chief of Defense Staff said.
It was in a thick forest, it was getting late. We had the option of leaving our remains there till the following day, and we know what could have happened to the bodies. So the team that was up there assessing the situation, decided to use available material they could lay hands on to start to descend the high ground. It was in a thick forest, it was getting late. We had the option of leaving our remains there till the following day, and we know what could have happened to the bodies. So the team that was up there assessing the situation decided to use available material they could lay hands on to start to descend the high ground.
Oh, that's the Chief of Defense Staff there, responding to a number of issues, including why the charred bodies of these gallant Ghanaians were put in cocoa sacks. Says that was the available material and they had to rely on that. And he maintains that his men did their best under the circumstance. Take a listen.
The morning when the aircraft was taken off, nobody expected any such disaster. But from the crash to Accra, it's possible, likely, that some things might have been done that were not in conformity with our culture. But I must tell you that those who are on the ground assess the situation, and from where I stand and looking back, I think that they did the best with the resources that they had at hand. In the morning when the aircraft was taken off, nobody expected any such disaster. But from the crash to Accra, it's possible, likely, that some things might have been done that were not in conformity with our culture. But I must tell you that those who are on the ground assess the situation, and from where I stand and looking back, I think that they did the best with the resources that they had at hand.
Well, so that's the Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General William Agyapong there. The president of the Ghana Journalists Association, Albert Dumfo, has meanwhile cautioned media practitioners to be circumspect in the coverage of the disaster.
Shouldn't I behind disclaimers? Behind disclaimers to put images that are insensitive out there. Ethically, you can't use disclaimer to exonerate yourself. So please, let's be guided. And I know as we go, we will tell the story as it is. Shouldn't I behind disclaimers? Behind disclaimers to put images that are insensitive out there. Ethically, you can't use disclaimer to exonerate yourself. So please, let's be guided. And I know as we go, we will tell the story as it is.
As the president of the Ghana Journalists Association there. Meanwhile, the Deputy Minister for Defense, Ernest Bojajemfi, says the country has requested an international collaboration to aid investigations into the helicopter crash. He assured that the ongoing probe by the Ghana Armed Forces will be transparent, one that Ghanaians can trust, warning the public against misinformation. Christian Yale reports.
4 out of the 8 victims of the helicopter crash are staff of the Defense Ministry. The Deputy Minister for Defense says the armed forces will uncover all the circumstances that caused the fatal crash.
The Ghana Armed Forces have already begun investigations into the incident. We have made requests for international collaboration, and we have received positive response in that regard. And so we want to assure you, our chiefs, that nothing will be covered, it will be transparent, and the public, Ghanaian public, will know exactly what happened and the cause of this tragic accident.
He highlighted the exceptional traits of the late minister, Dr. Bani Buama, and the professionalism of the servicemen, but he has cautioned the public to avoid peddling falsehoods.
We also want to caution the media,
you can't use disclaimer
some analysts who who
exonerate
have been
yourself.
churning out
So please,
misinformation
let's be guided.
and
I know
untruths about this whole incident. Ghanaians should trust that the ministry and the Ghana Armed Forces are going to be diligent in the investigations and transparent about it, and whatever was the cause will be known to the people of Ghana, and we will take some lessons out of that.
President of the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs, Ni Odaifio Welenchi III, made a passionate call for an end to galamsey.
Illegal mining, aka galamsey. This is what has cost their life. If we cannot do anything about this holistically, once and for all, that will stop this thing, then these gallant men have died for nothing. This country should rise up and do whatever possible to stop this galamsey in this country.
Having signed a book of condolence at the Defense Ministry, the delegation proceeded to the Armed Forces headquarters at Bema Camp to sign another book of condolence there. The delegation from the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs made a final stop at the headquarters of the National Democratic Congress to meet the party's chairman. Johnson Asiedu Nketia, in his remarks, indicated that the government would not be cowed away from taking drastic decisions to restore the country.
You've all heard about various prophecies, some of them claiming to play the role of God, and some threatening our leadership that more calamities are on the way to happen unless certain things are done. My belief is that what will happen, and we are not going to be cowed away from taking necessary decisions that will restore this country.
On Thursday, August 14th, a mass will be held for two of the victims, Dr. Mani Buama and squadron leader Anala, in Accra, even before the national interdenominational funeral to be held on Friday.
Christian Yale there. So that's the latest to what has been happening since the last 1 week. Today, exactly a week ago, we were hit with this disaster that led to the death of these 8 gallant Ghanaians. So you had the government confirming that it has indeed sought international assistance in investigating the August 6 Ghana Air Force Z9 helicopter crash in the Ashanti region, which claimed the lives of all 8. And as we do know, the Deputy Minister for Defense, Broja JV, made that announcement. You just heard him there when the delegation from the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs visited the Ministry of Defense earlier today. He said that the Ghana Armed Forces had already commenced investigations and was working with foreign experts to ensure a thorough and transparent probe into what happened. So this is why we bring in security analyst Emmanuel Kotin, who's been following the events that have been unfolding since morning. Mr. Kotin, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Hot Edition.
Alfred, thank you for having me. And very good evening to your cherished listeners.
Perfect. In what form should this investigation take? The collaborative investigation between us, the defense minister has indicated, deputy defense minister has indicated that we have sought international support, and then also with the local collaboration. What form should it take so as to ensure transparency and then the public is carried along every step of the way?
Well, let me use your esteemed platform to pay tribute to these 8 fallen gallant heroes. Let us put it that way, these fallen heroes. In fact, Alfred, I'm happy the Minister of Defense have come up with this presser. All along, it was public knowledge that we don't have the capacity to undertake this kind of investigations without any foreign help. If you look at international best practice, even in advanced countries, when an aircraft crash of this nature happens, it involves a lot of stakeholders. And you know that an aircraft by itself, the various components are manufactured by different companies from different countries. So you need the value chain of all these stakeholders to be able to pinpoint to the real cause of the crash. I think initially
what the government put forward, and some of us criticized, was to say that the military were to undertake this kind of investigation. I think what the government sought to portray at the time was the military to secure the site. Then they can come back to this and put the necessary mechanism in place to get the full complement of the investigative team. The good news is that this is a listening government. Many of us had issues with the military leading this investigation. Now they are seeking international help. What we are expecting is that the military should move away from its subculture of being silent and not being accountable to the good people of this country. For Christ's sake, we are in a democracy, and information flow would help cure all the mischief and the propaganda things we see in the golden age of the media we find ourselves, social media. So moving forward, I'm expecting that the military high command should hold a form of pressure. Let the good people of this country know in the last 1 week what they have done and the kind of international help they are looking for, so that it will put every speculation to rest. So I'm happy that at least the Minister of Defense have come forth with this information, Alfred.
And the transparency bit as well, as you commend them for, and there's that concern as well as to how this can be done to help dispel the speculation and then also all the assumptions and others that have been put out there, the propaganda as well about this incident. How should this, to what extent should the transparency be so as to address the speculation, misconception, and the suspicions as people have it?
Alfred, now that we are looking for international help, this investigation is going to take the form of what pertains in international best practices. And speaking to most of the senior military command officers, they are determined to unravel the mystery behind this helicopter crash. And I also believe that, in this country, we have the Air Crash Bureau. We should look at how we can resource that department. I'm telling you, Alfred, send your investigative team or the journalists to look at the state of the Ghana Aircraft Investigative Bureau. Look at the kind of human resources we have there, the kind of retooling we have done there in terms of equipment and things like that. When we are bringing international partners, Alfred, whom are they coming to collaborate with? We will need that civilian element and the military element, and there will be some kind of routine briefing to the general public, because it is not in the interest of Ghana alone that we need to unravel we need to unravel the circumstances that brought this heli down. Don't forget, the integrity of the manufacturer is at stake. And countries who are using this kind of aircraft will be interested to know what led to this crash. You remember Boeing when they had about 2 or 3 crashes with their 378, they grounded all of them. Maybe this investigation could lead to safeguarding the lives of other people in other jurisdictions who have similar aircraft or helicopters. So to me, to this extent, I will plead with the stakeholders of our democracy, our religious leaders, civil society organizations, and then the political class, to refrain from making prejudicial comments that can affect this investigation. Don't forget, we lost some of the brightest minds this country has ever produced. It doesn't matter the political party they belong. This loss is that of Ghana, and it must be reflective in the way we do our things. And I'm convinced that if the current government decide to play politics and propaganda with this kind of investigations, they stand to suffer in the near future. Ghanaians will not forgive them. And the families of these grieving gallant heroes will not equally forgive them. So to that extent, let's allow good heads to prevail. And some of us have 10 experts in the aviation industry, and we are commenting on things we don't even have knowledge about. And that is not helping the investigations moving forward. But I think the blame lies squarely on the military, because the president put them in charge of the investigations, and they have not come forward to brief the Ghanaian public about the extent of the investigations they've done so far, beyond what the Deputy Defense Minister came to inform us today, that they are looking for international help. And the Ghanaian military must understand that their mode has evolved. We are now in the democracy, and they have to fine-tune how to balance military or security protocol in the functioning democracy.
I do thank you for your thoughts on this. Appreciate you. Emmanuel Kotim, thank you so much, as always, for joining us here on Hot Edition. It's the security analyst. You're live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're also on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale and on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. Now, it's exactly a week since this tragic military helicopter crash happened, and there's been a lot with the New Patriotic Party and the NDC as well?
Yes, today the leadership of the New Patriotic Party paid a call on the NDC at their headquarters to commiserate with the governing party in what they describe as a moment for national unity. Justin Kodia-Frimpong is NPP General Secretary.
On behalf of the New Patriotic Party, and more so the team that came with me to this office, we are overwhelmed with your warm reception to our team. I think this is the first time New Patriotic Party has come to your office, and it's rather unfortunate that we didn't come at a good time, but it should also mark the beginning of a friendly and cordial relationship between the NDC and the New Patriotic Party. Indeed, there are certain comments that are made by what we refer to as full soldiers, or people who are not even closer to the leadership of the party. But sometimes it is important, when such unfortunate, condemnable statements are made, both divide, the leadership comes out to distance ourselves from it, and also to let them know that is not the trait of our party. After these incidents, we will admit here that certain comments, even from NDC and NPP, some are claiming NPP are behind all these things, and some are also saying that they were even expecting some other people to have died. These things are not healthy for our democracy, and death is something that even your worst enemy, you shouldn't even wish death for your enemy. So, Mr. Chairman, if anything came from our side, I want to, on behalf of our party, apologize to the NDC, and through you to His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. It is not the position of the New Patriotic Party, and will never condone such activity from anyone who makes those comments.
Meanwhile, the NPP says its decision not to take part in the Tamale Central rerun has nothing to do with fears of losing the seats. According to the party, the move is to show solidarity with the opposition National Democratic Congress over the loss of 8 of its members in last week's helicopter crash.
Chairman, I want to state on record that for us, as you indicate, our decision not to contest Tamale Central is not about whether we win or we lose, but it's a matter of principle, and you've done it before, even at Abuakwa North, when we lost our MP, JB Dankwa. For Ejutu, it was political strategy, so at least they knew they were not going to win, but they wanted to hide behind the independent candidate. That's why my uncle didn't contest. So just to at least sympathize and commensurate with the party, and we are looking forward to having a very fruitful relationship with the NDC. And but we know for Akwetia is our seat, and my uncle knows that we are going to retain the seat at Akwetia. At least will help us by choosing the candidates who cannot compete with our candidates. So it is important that in times like this, we all show solidarity. And
that's NPP General Secretary Justin Kodia Frimpong. Hundreds of New Patriotic Party youth organizers today stormed the party's headquarters to pick up presidential nomination forms for former Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. Out of 522 youth organizers nationwide, 490 joined the move, saying it's a show of confidence in his leadership. Here's a spokesperson, Isaac Obeng. We'll bring you that. Now, from the party office, the delegation headed straight to Dr. Bawumia's office to present the forms. In a brief address, Dr. Bawumia expressed his gratitude and promised bold initiatives aimed at improving the lives.
490 out of 552 came to me and requested, or our leadership came and requested that they wanted to put their widow's minds together and pick my forms for me. I agreed, because that was a remarkable vote of confidence in me. And this morning, they have fulfilled that promise they made, and they have picked the forms from the headquarters and have delivered the forms to me today. The youth are a major asset for our party. They represent the future, and they are an asset not only for the party but for the nation. And I want to thank them for this major vote of confidence. I want to say that I am minded to contest for the flag bearership. I will make a full declaration in that regard when I go on to submit the forms that you have handed over to me this morning. But let us say that I want this flag bearership election to be conducted with decorum. We are not in a campaign of insults, and we should not be in a campaign of insults. It should be about ideas, and that is what will capture the imagination of Ghanaians. What ideas do we have? What are we bringing to the table? How are we going to solve problems that Ghanaians face? As a party, I admonish everybody, all the aspirants and our supporters, that let us focus on marketing or selling our respective candidates. When we bring down other people, we are bringing down the NPP. Our messages will be taken by our opponents and used against us. I will not, and you will never hear me insulting any candidate. And so, because when this election is over, we have to contest a general election. And if we divide ourselves today, we will have a difficulty in uniting for a general election tomorrow. So let us begin the process with unity and end with unity, because that will bring victory in
So that's Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia there, the Vice President, the former Vice President, and also the flag bearer of the NPP in the 2024 elections, declaring his intent to contest the flag bearership of the NPP on the 30th of January 2026. Now, let's go on to the telephone. Dr. Samuel Frey has been following this process quite closely. Doc, appreciate you. Thank you for joining us so far. Comrade Agyapong, Kennedy Agyapong, and Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. In fact, we also have Dr. Agyapong as well. They've picked up their forms, 4 of them. Nominations close on August 28. Now, if you look at today, what happened earlier today with a number of young people, including the 7 national youth organizers of the party, picking up the nominations from Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. What signal does it send you?
Yes, Alfred, thank you very much. And greetings to your cherished listeners. You know, as the NPP is yearning to select their flag bearer, we are all hoping that they will do it with fairness. They will do it with kind of decorum in terms of how they will go against each other in terms of this kind of competition. When you look at the process today, as you asked, you realize that the young, because I learned that it's the young, the youth organizers of the party that took to the headquarters to file for that is to get the nomination forms. And I even learned that they contributed most of the amount involved. Well, we can say that they are in for Dr. Bawumia, especially the youth. But I see that it's a strategy. If you want to prove certain case to your competitors and also outside the party, you have all various ways of trying to portray how the party tends to bring you to be the flag bearer. So I think that is a strategy to let the party know that the youth of the party are yearning for him, as well as the outside the party, and that is what I believe is a political strategy that the organizers, or let's say the people behind Dr. Bawumia, trying to portray to the outside world.
Now, but beyond the strategy, what is the potency of it as against all the other candidates as well who have picked the nomination form so far?
Is it the potency for the youth of the party? You know, when you look at the 2024 elections, you can easily identify that the young ones was the major deciders for the election 2024. And that's a strategy that Dr. Bawumia want to adopt to ensure that he's in for that kind of Gen Z and those kind of young ones. I believe that is a strategy that he want to adopt now. And that is why the youth in the party trying to do. Because if you don't side with them, how will you tend to capture the young or the Gen Z? And you can easily identify that the NDC adopted that strategy and it worked for them. And now they have the more young ones involved in the NDC party comparatively to the NPP, of which they are not into that. They are, the strategy that the NDC used is what maybe Dr. Bawumia wanted to approach in that direction, so that it can also give him the chance, maybe when he becomes the flag bearer, and then maybe for 2028 elections when he becomes president.
The race for the attention of the youth in the NPP is indeed a straight one between 3 candidates, at least from what we have seen so far. A clear focus of Dr. Agyapong's campaign is on the youth. You see as well Kennedy Agyapong making the youth the central focus of his communication and strategy so far. And then now we're seeing Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia as well. Who is really going to win this race?
The one
and by the race, I mean
yes.
the race for the young people's votes in the NPP.
The one that is going to win with the young ones, we want to identify with those people. At the same time, you can able to what we call it, the chemistry between you and them is also good. How they can identify themselves with their vision, how you can able to help them to able to get their attention, how you are going to invest in them. That is the kind of people that the youth of late, I'm talking in terms of the larger youth, they want people that understand them, people that can solve their problems. And anyone that comes in with these kind of solutions, they are ready to go in for you. And as you said, all these candidates are trying to target the youth, but the personality will be someone who understands them, someone who can edge them, motivate them, and especially for the NPP party, someone who can assure them victory when that person becomes the leader or the flag bearer of the party. And that is what will work for any leader that goes in for these young ones. And that will work seriously for them.
I see. But prior to this moment, we've seen a number of them who have not picked their nomination forms so far make comments to suggest that indeed they intend to contest the flag bearership. We have some 20 days away from, in fact, I beg your pardon, that's some 14 days away from today. All things being equal, the period for the filing would end. How do you see things playing out in the coming days?
I hope, and I think Alfred will try to get my view on this in the sense that we hope that it will not be that big number or the large number that was some time ago. I hope that at least maximum or maybe should be 5 to 7, 5 will be manageable. But because if it becomes more, the number becomes, then that is where the acrimony tends to be more serious. And all of them have their ulterior motive. Some want to come in to gain publicity or to gain attention. Someone wants to come in so that they can also have future step to another, what do we call it, opportunity to compete. So some people are building their career. But in all, the two contenders that might be going for these kind of head neck to neck, maybe let's use that word, will be the former President Dr. Bawumia, the former Vice President Dr. Bawumia, and also Honorable Ken. I believe that this is where the tension and the acrimony will tend to be much more. And the other ones will also be in to also try to. But I hope and pray that the number will not be as much as expected, that anyone will just get on board and want to be a presidential candidate. I think people should examine themselves well before they get on board, because the NPP is noted for these large numbers of presidential aspirants, hence creating a lot of infighting and conflict among themselves, which doesn't augur well for the party in the longer term.
And you're writing off Dr. Yause Duchum already?
No, for now, I think, I'm Alfred Ocansey. That is how the thing works, the truth is coming in, but you pull some strings, but it will not be maybe to have a winning ticket. That is my personal view anyway. Not yet any research done, but I believe that by observation and by based on political strength, personality, activities, and how they have invested themselves in the party, people are going to yearn for these two candidates that I've earlier mentioned. But the truth will put some weight. Some of them, we hope that some of them will step down for others. That is what we hope to see in the longer term when it's getting near for that election.
I thank you, Dr. Samuel Afiri. Appreciate you for this. He is a political analyst, a lecturer as well. Dr. Samuel Afiri there.
In other stories, the Tamale High Court has discharged Abdullahi Sayuti, the supposed drug lord in Tamale, by upholding his plea of double jeopardy. Alhaji Sayuti was being prosecuted for dealing in illicit drug substances in the Greater Tamale metropolis. He was earlier convicted by the Tamale Circuit Court over the sale of restricted drugs at his chemical shop. A search at his home and warehouse by Narcotics Control Commission and Food and Drugs Authority led to the confiscation of several boxes and grams of tramadol. He was charged with unlawful possession of restricted drugs and was facing prosecution at the High Court. However, the court ruled today and set him free following his plea of double jeopardy. Alfred.
We've just gotten some information from the Ghana Education Service, GES. A statement just came through, and we've got the details for you. It has to do with the placement of senior high school graduates What does the statement say?
GS is announcing to parents, students, and the general public that the 2025 computerized school selection and placement system for senior high schools have recorded a few mistakes made by the students in the selection procedures, which led to the failure of identifying their status of placement. Out of the total number of 603,328 results received from WAEC, 451,797 candidates qualified to be placed. We have recorded a lot of examination malpractices in the ongoing marking, which also led to the withheld and cancellation of some 19,898 papers. It says these are the impossible notice. With only a few weeks until results and placement are released, students and parents are urged to take advantage of this time and opportunity, and they're asking that they contact their WhatsApp number on 020-104-5066 or 020-1045-1572. First of all, confirm your results status. Secondly, to complete your self-placement to select from available schools. And thirdly, to take necessary actions before the deadline. Now, this is a self-placement module. It's if a student is not matched with any of his or her choices from the automatic placement systems, he or she will be redirected to the self-placement portal. Now, from that portal, you select a school by providing the information below. 1, the region of the school, your residential preference, your school, and the program of choice. Parents and students are to note that schools selected on self-placement portals can be changed as many times as the candidate wishes on the portal until they enroll in a school. Now, GS says their crew encourages student teachers, head of basic schools, directors of education, parents, guardians, and all stakeholders to reach out on their WhatsApp number for any information to check their results and placement status. Now, the number again is 020-1045066 and 020-1045157. Now, GS is wishing all candidates good luck and great success. Alfred.
Okay, let's go back to our earlier story, straight to Tamale, because the Tamale High Court has discharged Abdullahi Saitu, the supposed drug lord in Tamale, by upholding his plea of double jeopardy. And our correspondent in the northern region, Christopher Marco, sat through that particular court hearing earlier today. Chris, what more do we know about this development?
Okay, so Alfred, you know that 3 weeks ago we reported on this particular incident where Alhaji Sawiti was arrested for unlawful possession of drugs in the Greater Tamale metropolis. He was first taken to the Tamale Circuit Court where he was convicted. But, you know, there was a second operation at his warehouse and his personal house. And so that particular issue was taken to the Tamale High Court. Unfortunately, today the court ruled that they cannot double convict him. And so once the Circuit Court has convicted him on the same charges, the High Court cannot also sentence him on the same charges, and so he was discharged. Now, there are mixed reactions amongst the public in town, because some believe that why didn't the police actually take him to the Circuit Court with the same charges on the two arrests that were made, but rather they decided to separate the court hearings, one at the Circuit Court, the other at the High Court. And so they believe that it was a plot by the security to, as it were, ensure that he's set free with this particular court case.
So what happens after this particular development today?
Yeah, so he has been discharged. The court did not see any reason to sentence him, and so he's now a free man, because the previous conviction, though that one is binding on him, but this particular second one that was taken to the High Court, the court has discharged him on that particular incident.
Thank you so much, Christopher Marco, for this update here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. He is our Northern and Savannah regional correspondent.
This is still Hot Edition. We'll be back with the latest in the world of business and sports. Bismarck Ausa is standing by. I got it.
Microcredit is here to support your dreams. If you're not working but want to start a business, don't let money stop you. With just your Ghana card, you can get a loan to turn your ideas into reality. Already running a business? Need more capital? Or are you a salary worker looking for extra funds? Bills offers fast and easy loans with no collateral, no deposit, and no SUSI savings required. Wherever you are, whatever you need, Bills makes it happen. Call Bills Microcredit today. Call 0596 920 833 or 0302 200 390 and get started. Bills is licensed and regulated by the Bank of Ghana. Bills, financing your needs. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the business segment on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Kausa. Coming up tonight, Bank of Ghana urges banks to ease credit conditions after a 300 basis point policy rate cut to 25%. We'll bring you details. Thanks for your company. Now to the details. The Bank of Ghana is calling on commercial banks to review their lending strategies, widen access to credit, and back private sector-led growth following a 300 basis point cut in the policy rate from 28% to 25%. Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama told heads of banks at the 125th Monetary Policy Committee post-briefing engagement that the move marks a cautious shift from a purely defensive monetary stance towards one that supports economic expansion, provided the ongoing disinflation process stays on course.
During these developments, the Monetary Policy Committee lowered the policy rate by 300 basis points to 25%. This signals a gradual shift from a purely defensive monetary stance and toward one that cautiously supports economic growth on condition that the disinflation path remains on track. Colleagues, there is scope for further easing going forward if macroeconomic conditions continue to improve, and in particular, if August inflation, September inflation continues to settle within the target band. For the banking sector, this opens a window for you to re-examine your lending strategies. You have to broaden your access to credit, and you have to support private sector-led growth while still managing your risks prudently.
And that was Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama. A former controller and accountant general, Nana Professor Atogati, is calling for immediate amendments to Ghana's wage structure. According to him, a greater proportion of the country's wage bill is spent on retirement benefits and ex gratia payments for former Article 71 office holders, while majority of Ghanaian workers continue to survive on a daily minimum wage of less than 20 cedis. In an interview with 3 Business, Professor Gatti described the situation as deeply unjust and unsustainable, warning that the growing wage disparity must be urgently addressed.
Okay, sure. I think it has some constitutional basis, and it started with the judiciary. Yeah, but when they go on pension, they should get the full pay, graduated salaries indexed not to inflation alone, but to the actual salary increases of the working staff. Then other organizations have joined. If you go to the military, for example, they've joined the civil service or public service. Those who are politically strong have joined. And these are huge amounts because some of them go with all the allowances. And in some instances, they are even saying that pension is not taxed. So they are even better paid now than when they were working. And I think that's an issue we should have a look at.
And that was former Controller and Accountant General Nana Professor Atugati raising concerns on Ghana's wage structure. And that brings us to the end of the business news on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Kausa. Orekwampo is here for sports. Please stay.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on Hot Edition on TFM 92.7. My name is Oreku Ampofo. We continue with our review of the Congress which took place in Pram from the Ghana Football Association. Remember that the big news coming in from the 31st GFA Congress was that the presidential term limit has been extended from 2 to 3. Now, there has been heated debate post the announcement, and Jerome Otri, who's the former editor for Asante Kotoko's popular newspaper, has expressed his disappointment and concerns over this move.
That's a disappointment. Disappointment in the sense that it is not something I expected the administration to do, even though I know that they have prepared the ground for this right when they assumed office in 2019. And some of us started talking about it because, I mean, who thinks of a third term in office when the first term you have been given hasn't ended? And again, why do you want to conceive of a third term in office when your second term has not ended? That is why some of us felt that this whole thing about term limit extension was disgraceful. And regardless of the fact that 114 people endorsed it, I stand up for the 6 who opposed it. Because, look, what is the essence? Exactly what is going to change with our football when we give one person a 12-year stay in office? What is going to change? I don't see anything changing. What has happened is just to satisfy the egos of some people who are intending to run in office when their term limits are, it's over.
And so that was Jerome Otri, who is a former editor of Kotoko Express, speaking after the term limit for the GFA president was extended from 2 to 3. Let's do some more stories where we're just an hour away from the kickoff for the UEFA Super Cup final between Paris Saint-Germain and Tottenham Hotspur. The French side were Crown Champions League winners and so would be facing the winners of the Europa League, that's Tottenham Hotspur. John Boafu, who is a sports marketing expert and also an avid Paris Saint-Germain fan, is tipping Luis Enrique's men despite the lack of sharpness in the team after they only resumed training last week.
My match today, despite the fact that PSG only started back with the training last week after a break after losing that final of the Club World Cup against Chelsea. So it's going to be a good match tonight, and hopefully, we'll see some goals, and hopefully it will also end up being a good match. I think that PSG, despite not having any preseason match, and this is the first match since the final of the Club World Cup, and then also Spurs hadn't played 6 preseason matches. It's going to be tough, but I see PSG winning probably 2-1, because I think that PSG will really try to push as much in the first 30 minutes and score as many goals, and then try to manage the rest of the game. So 2-1 for PSG, and another cup for Paris Saint-Germain.
And so that was John Buffo speaking. But before we go, just news coming in is the lineups are out, and Mohamed Kudus is in the starting 11 for Tottenham Hotspur in what looks like a 3-5-2 formation. He plays up front with Richarlison. And then as a 5-man midfield of Spence, Sarr, Bentancur, Paulina, and Porro. As a back three of Van de Ven, Kevin Danso, newly appointed Captain Romero, and Vicario. For Paris Saint-Germain, Chevalier comes in place of Donnarumma, who has been officially declared as an outcast at the club and has been linked with a number of teams across Europe. It's Hakimi, a right back, Marquinhos, Pacho, and Nuno Mendes in the back four. Due to the suspension of João Neves, Zaire Emery steps in alongside Vitinha. Up front is Desire Doué, Barcola, Dembele, and Kvaratskhelia. And so you can get updates of that match on our social media handles at 3SportsGH. My name is Ore Kwampofo, and that's how we wrap up the sports segment and the whole of Hot Edition here on 3FM 92.7. We'll be back again same time tomorrow.